Why play Bard in D&D 5e? Well, you have fantastic scaling. You will become either one of the, if not the strongest classes in the entire game. You fit the buff slash debuff kind of support playstyle like a glove, but you have the flexibility to force any sort of playstyle to work. Bards also reward skilled play. The difference between a bard played by a skilled player and a bard played by a new player are very, very vast, and the difference between that gap is skill. And finally, you can choose any subclass happily and still be an incredibly powerful build. However, you're going to start the game off extremely weak. You're going to have the lowest overall offense and defense out of anybody else in those first few levels. So we are extremely squishy. You can just kind of die outright. They also have decisions that aren't flexible at all. An example of this is their spell selection. If you select a spell that sucks, you're stuck with it for at least a level. So while bards reward skilled play, they really punish unskilled play, which makes them not a very beginner-friendly class. Next up is our signature abilities. The first is Bardic Inspiration, and this really leans us into our support element. We cannot benefit from this, but our teammates can. After that, we have Jack of all trades. Jack of all trades basically means that all of our skills we're going to have some bonus to. And even more amazing is it applies to our initiative rolls or our counter spells, so it has some really niche benefits as well. And finally, everyone's favorite bard feature is Magical Secret. At certain levels, we can choose spells from any spell list, and that can be used for a lot of creative builds, or we can just take the best spells in the game and be an incredibly powerful spellcaster. As for our stats, Charisma is king, Constitution is our secondary, and Dexterity is our tertiary. Anything we have after that, we're going to put towards Wisdom to pad our Wisdom save weakness. When it comes to feats versus stats, our primary and secondary stats are probably better than feats. A special shout out here does need to go to Fey Touch. When it comes to our lineages, Half Elf is king. Those extra stats in the long term are going to be better than basically anything else. However, if you're looking past that, any lineage that helps us in our early game where we're really weak can go a long way with a bard. As for bard subclasses, we are so stinking powerful. Just choose the one that sounds most fun to you. I'm serious. When it comes to bards 1 through 4, this is our weak phase. We're rocking light armor and a D8 hit die. If we get swarmed by any amount of pressure, we're a goner. So our most common tactic is going to be use our fight winning spell, stay way back out of the fight, play really defensively. And once you get your second level spells, you're really encouraged to take your defensive second level spells because you are defenseless otherwise. And when it comes to out of combat, we shine right away. When it comes to levels 5 through 9, congratulations, you made it out of bard hell. You are now incredibly powerful. That's because your third level spells just end fights. On top of this, we've gotten our bardic inspirations to recharge on a short rest, so we can and should be using them about 3 times more often. Moving into levels 10 through 16, this is when we first get our magical secrets, and it can very possibly bump bards up to the most powerful casters in the game from this level on. And while I recommend you take whatever feels most fun to you, Fine Greater Steed needs a shout out here. And finally, we go into levels 17 through 20. This is where we can go from insanely powerful to godly. We can take Magical Secrets Wish, for example. Of course, there are a million ways to do your bard, but hopefully this gets you started on your journey.